Welcome all my dear students. This is your physics class for students of class 12 and we have already completed up to dipole moment. So today we are going to study electric flux. It's a very interesting topic. And before we start, a small question for you all, that if I keep a dipole in an electric field, okay, if I keep a dipole in a uniform electric field and the direction of the dipole, if this is the direction of the electric field, the dipole is also directed in the same direction. So we can say that this dipole is in stable equilibrium because always an electric field tries to align the dipole towards its own direction, right? You have seen that net force acting on the dipole is zero. So there is a torque which is applicable on the dipole. Now my question is, if I apply a external force to this dipole, suppose I am applying an external force to this dipole. So what is going to happen to this dipole? So what will happen is this dipole will oscillate. Okay. See, if I am applying a force, so that means an acceleration will be there. Okay. So due to this, the dipole will go down. So if I am applying force from here, the dipole will move down. But the electric field will try to align the dipole in its own direction, right? So what will happen? The electric field will again move this dipole up. Now there is an acceleration, so there will be an inertia due to which it will again go up, right? Again the electric field will try to align itself in its own direction. So there will be a oscillation which will be created in the dipole. Okay, the electric field will try to align the dipole in its own direction, whereas because of the inertia it will move up and down, and again electric field will try to align the dipole in its own direction, right? So hope it's clear to you. Let us start with electric flux. So we are starting with electric flux today. So the word flux means the quantity of flow. Okay, how much is it flowing? So quantity of flow means you can understand that flux is a scalar quantity. It describes that how much amount is flowing. It describes the amount, you can say that it describes the amount of air flowing out, or it can describes the amount of water flowing out. Or here we will be studying about electric flux. So from the word itself you can understand that it will be telling us about the amount of electric field lines passing. So the word flux is flow. Now this flux is a property of vector field. So flow field is a vector field. Okay, flux is the property of vector field. Why I am telling? Flux itself is a scalar quantity. But there are properties of vector which are involved while calculating a flux. Why? Because we generally consider the flow field as my vector field. So when I can see that something is a vector field, so when something in space, it will assign some magnitude and it will have some direction. Right? Then we can assign that it's a vector field. So suppose if I consider the flow of air or flow of water out through a pipe or through a air coming through window. So if this is my window, right, now the amount of air which I can consider as the flux, the quantity which is coming inside, will depend on few factors. So those factors are, it will depend on the intensity or strength of the wind, or I can say the speed of the wind. Okay, it will depend on the speed of the wind, how fast or how slow the wind is moving. And secondly, the amount of air which is going to enter is going to depend on the direction of the wind. Right? See, it is specifying magnitude and direction. So it is going to depend on the intensity of the wind. Is the wind blowing fast or slow? And it is going to depend, means the amount of wind which is going to enter through this particular window is also going to depend on the direction of the wind. Okay, is the window is in the direction of the airflow or is it the opposite direction of the airflow? So in this two cases, based on these two factors, the amount of wind is going to get inside the room. Right? Now the window acts as a area, acts as a passage for flux to pass through. And this area has a very important role to play in flux. If area is not there, okay, if the area was absent, the electric field lines will not get, or any flux lines will not get any space to move through. So therefore, I can say that this particular area serves an important role for flux to pass through. So this particular area, you can see here, there is a direction of area. The wind is moving in this direction through the window, right? So you will get to know in this chapter that area is a vector quantity. In lower classes you have studied about area, and there you have studied that you have not considered any direction for a particular area. But over here we are going to consider the direction for a particular area. So we know that area has its magnitude. So suppose if I draw a plane, and if I consider this plane is a meter square or a unit, okay, this plane is a meter square. So this a represents the magnitude. Now what will be the direction? So we generally consider, suppose for this case, if you see through the window, how is the wind flowing? The wind is flowing perpendicular. Okay, these are the flux. The flux lines, they are perpendicular to the plane surface, right? If this is my surface, so it will be perpendicular to the plane surface. So if this is my surface, it will be perpendicular. So the direction of the area vector is always perpendicular to the surface. So this represents the direction A vector. Okay, this gives us the vector. So I can say that if n cap represent the direction of the area vector, suppose if this is n cap representing the direction of the unit vector, then A vector equals to, I can write that A vector equals to A n cap. Okay, so A is my magnitude representing the total area. N cap is the direction. N cap is the direction. The unit vector is representing the direction. How is the direction? Always perpendicular to the surface. Okay, it is normal to the surface. So this magnitude with my direction is representing the A vector, and this A vector is A into n cap. Okay, so this is the direction of the area vector. Okay, representing the direction of the area vector. So area is a vector quantity, and for each and every area, suppose if I take this as my area, if I have a disk, right? So for this disk, my area vector will always be perpendicular to the surface. This will be my direction for area vector. It is always perpendicular to any surface. If I consider this particular page, then this will be the direction of area vector. Okay, perpendicular to the surface. So the direction of area vector is always normal or perpendicular to the surface. Now this is a case where I have considered a planar area. Okay, it's a plane area, uniform. But in case of a curved body, suppose I have a curved body or a non-uniform body, so in that case I am not getting a planar area. So in that case, what will I do? I will consider a small elementary area. Okay, and this small elementary area will be so small, right, that compared to the whole body, or compared to the curves, the places where curves are being formed, compared to that curved region, this particular area is acting as a plane. So this is my elementary area. So I can write it, I can consider this to be as ds. Okay, so this is the magnitude ds. Now it's a planar area, so obviously it will have, suppose if this is the area, then obviously it will have a direction. So let us consider that this is representing the direction n cap. Okay, and then this is my becoming ds vector, which is equals to ds n cap. So in case of a curved body, we are considering a small elementary portion, and that small elementary portion is so small that it can be considered as a planar area. And we know for a planar area, always the direction of the area vector is perpendicular to it. Okay, so this is how we are getting the direction of the area vector for a curved surface. So each and every time, suppose if I consider a small elementary area ds in this region, right? So in this case, the direction of the normal will change. Okay, so this will be my direction. Suppose this is my n cap. So here I can mark this as ds1. So this is becoming my ds2. So this will become ds2 equals to ds2 vector equals to ds2 n cap. Okay, each and for a curved surface or for a non-uniform surface, the direction of area vector is going to be different. Okay, it is going to be different. You can see that for each and every places, the direction of area vector will change. So that's why I need to consider this elementary areas. But in case of a plane area, what I can see, if it's a complete uniform plane area, then the direction of the direction of the area vector will always be constant. It will always be perpendicular to the surface. But in this case, the direction of the area vectors, they are changing according to the curve made by the body. Now you can ask, or you can have a query, that why area is considered as a vector. So see this one. See, if this is a vector, A vector, this is B vector. So we have studied the chapter vector. Okay, so according to the parallelogram law of vector, this will be your resultant. So I have constructed a parallelogram. This dotted lines, they are representing the construction of a parallelogram. So this is my A vector. Now this is your B vector. So this side is also B vector. Now this B vector can be resolved into two components. So here I can consider that theta is the angle. There is an inclination. It's a parallelogram, so there is an inclination. So this B vector can be resolved into two components, that is B cos theta with the base, and this height will become B sin theta, right? Okay, now if I have to calculate the area of the parallelogram, okay, so if I have to calculate the area of the parallelogram, then area of parallelogram is base into height. How much is my base? Here my base is this one, A, and height is my B sin theta. So I can write AB sin theta. Sin theta means cross product, so it will become A cross B. Okay, so I can write, this is my A vector. The total area of the parallelogram is A vector, which is represented by A cross B. Okay, A vector cross B vector, right? So you can understand that why do we consider area as a vector. Now if this is my surface, now this surface is in xy plane, so I can write that direction is I cap cross j cap. Okay, the A vector is in the direction I cap, this B vector is in the direction j cap, it is in the xy plane. So as I told you, the direction of the area vector will be normal to it. So if this particular area is in xy plane, that means the direction of the area vector will be perpendicular to it. Okay, it will be perpendicular, so it will be along z direction. So I cap j cap, I cap cross j cap, it will give us k cap. So k cap will represent you the direction of the area vector. Now here you can see two cases. Okay, in this case the electric field is strong. Why? Because electric field lines, they are closer to each other. And in the second case, the electric field is weak. E2 is representing the electric field and E2 is weak. Because the electric field lines, they have space between them. They are not so dense. Now we are keeping three plates in both of the electric fields. area A1, they are equal. This area and this area is equal. A2 we are keeping in both of them, and A3. And we are considering that this A2 and A3, they are equal. Okay, this A2 and A3, they are equal in area. They are same square units. A2 and A3 are of same square unit here also. Now, these are the direction of my area vector, perpendicular. See, this is also perpendicular. This will be upward the way it is being kept. A3 will be upward directed. So when we are keeping them in an electric field, what is happening? Electric field lines, they are passing, we are keeping electric fields, we are keeping them in an electric field. So electric field lines, it is passing through a particular area. Now if you see both of this diagram in case 1 and in case 2, here in case 1 you can see that more number of electric field lines are passing. I can say that here of 1, 2, 3, 4 electric field lines are passing. But in the second case, only 3 electric field lines are passing. Why? Because here the intensity of electric field is less, whereas in this case the intensity of the electric field is more. So stronger the electric field, more number of electric flux or more number of electric field lines is going to pass. Now when I decrease the area, in both the cases when I decrease the area, you can see if I decrease the particular area, what is happening? As I decrease the magnitude of the area, or if I see if I have decreased the area, then number of electric field lines passing through it is also decreasing. Now here A2 and A3, we are considering that both of them have the same magnitude. They are both are having same square units, but it is being kept in a different way. How it is being kept? In case of A2, the direction of A2 and the direction of electric field, they are along the same direction, right? They are acting along the same direction. So if they are acting along the same direction, that means there is no angle of inclination between E and A. Okay, so you can see electric field lines, they are passing through it. Okay, now if I keep it perpendicular, so this will be my direction of area vector. So area vector and electric field, they are making an angle 90 degree. And it is kept in such a way, okay, it is being kept in such a way that it is making an angle 90 degree. And in that case, flux passing through this area is 0. So I can say that if electric field and area vector, they are making an angle 90 degree with each other, the flux will be 0. Okay, for both the cases, you see the flux is 0. But in the A2, in the case of A2, you can see that the number of flux lines are decreasing because the magnitude is less, but flux lines, they are moving through it. So I can say when the direction of the area vector is in the direction of electric field, maximum number of electric field lines is going to move through. So when I can say if theta is equals to 0 degree between E and A, maximum number of electric flux line will pass. But when E and A is having an angle 90 degree between it, then no flux line is passing. So from 0 degree to 90 degree. Okay, when it is being kept in this way, it is representing 0 degree. When it is being kept in this way, it is representing 90 degree with the electric field. So as I am increasing the angle, that means the plate is kept in this way. Now if I keep on increasing the angle, 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree, 4 degree, in this way, this is a surface. Okay, this way if I increase it 10, 20, 60, 70, 80, okay, and then if I completely do it 90 degree, in this case what will happen? The flux will decrease. As I increase the angle, then the flux will keep on decreasing. So at theta equals to 0 degree, the flux will be maximum, whereas at 90 degree, the flux will be minimum, or the flux will be 0. Rather, it will be 0. At 90 degree, the flux will be 0. So here we can understand few of the things, that electric flux depends on the intensity of the electric field. Is it strong or is it weak? And it also depends on the direction of the area vector with the electric field, means how the plate is being kept. Okay, the area which is made by the area vector, the angle which is made by the area vector and electric field, and it also depends on the magnitude of the area. So Basically it is going to depends on two factors. It is depending on the electric field and it is depending on the area vector. So flux, the relation of flux will be on area vector and electric field. So we have understood that quantity of flux depends on few factors like area of the surface. It depends on angle between area vector and E, right? And it depends on the intensity of electric field. Now these 2 points, they are very similar to each other. These two are similar. Area means magnitude and direction, right? They are representing the basically the same point. They are representing the area vector, and this is intensity of electric field. So we can write the expression as phi equals to E dot A. Dot product, flux is a scalar quantity, okay? More the electric field intensity, more will be the flux, more the area, more amount of electric field lines is going to pass. So definition of electric flux is the number of electric field lines passing normally through a surface is called electric flux through the surface. Or we can say that electric field lines linked to a particular area vector is called electric flux. Okay, electric field lines linked to a particular area, that is also known as electric flux. So phi equals to E dot A. This is the expression which we are getting. So we can write phi equals to EA cos theta. Now what we have seen, if theta equals to 0 degree, flux is my maximum flux. So EA is the flux. But if theta equals to 90 degree, then flux is minimum 0. Now if I see this particular expression, when theta equals to 0 degree, phi max equals to EA. So I can write E equals to phi by A. Okay. So flux per unit area is intensity of electric field. So this is how I can define electric field also. Flux per unit area defines the intensity of electric field. So next is, if we have to consider or if we have to find out the units and dimensions. So E is phi equals to E dot A. Now we have already calculated the unit for electric field, we know it. So E equals to, we know, F by Q, so Newton Coulomb inverse, right? And area is my meter square. So what am I getting? It is Newton meter square Coulomb inverse. So this is the unit for electric field. Now there is another unit we have calculated the unit of electric field with respect to volt as well. So phi equals to, I can write E is voltmeter inverse and area is meter square. So it will represent volt meter, right? Now if I have to calculate the dimensions of electric field, so if I have to calculate the dimension, suppose if I calculate it here, so electric field is what? Force by charge. So my dimension for force is ml t to the power minus 2 by charge. So charge is I equals to q by t. So q equals to at. So this is inverse, okay, A inverse T inverse, right? And I have area, so L square. So dimension should be written in a bracket. So I will get it M. What am I getting? L cube, right? Then T to the power minus 3, right? And A to the power minus 1. So this is my dimension for electric flux, right? So let me ask you a simple thing before I move to the next topic. So if I have a disk, right, and this perpendicular to the disk is representing the area vector. Now this is radius r of the disk, okay, and this is the direction of electric field. The electric field line which is passing through the particular disk is in this direction, and if it is making an angle 30 degree with the radius, 30 degree with the radius, then what will be the electric flux? So we know phi equals to EA cos theta, right? Now this theta is the angle between E and A. So here the angle between E and A is how much? This total is 90 degree, this is 30, okay. The angle between E vector and R vector, E vector and radius is the angle between E vector and the radius is 30 degree. So this angle is my 60 degree, 90 minus 30, 60. So I will get the result as EA cos 60 degree, that is half EA, right? So this is how we can calculate electric flux for a simple system. Now the surface which we will be taking for calculating electric flux is not necessarily that those surface will be a two-dimensional surface. So surface which we are taking, that surface can be of two types. It can be either a open surface or it can be a closed surface, right? So if I say it's a open surface, so I'm telling about the surface 2D surfaces like this one or like a plane, right? Okay. But for closed surface, that is for 3D surface, if I consider it for a cube, what happens if electric flux is passing through here? There is no problem, it can pass through this side, it can pass through the opposite side as well. But here what is happening, this closed surface, they breaks the space into two parts. There is an inner part and there is an outer part, right? So some flux will move out whereas some flux will move inside, right? The direction of the area vector, you can see there are two directions of area vector, okay. See, if I consider for this particular surface area, for the topmost portion of the cube, this will be the direction of area vector. So one area vector is moving outside whereas the other area vector, it is moving inside, right? So there are two directions of area vector because a closed surface divide the space into two parts. One is your inner surface and the other is outer surface. But in case of an open surface, we don't have this problem because an open surface never divides it in two parts. It is never inside and outside. So in that case, the question is which area vector to be considered. So we will be consider the area vector which is directed outward. It's a sign convention to consider the area vector which is directed outside. Now flux can also be two types. We can have a suppose if it's a non-uniform substance, so electric field lines, they can move outward, right? Or suppose electric field lines, they are moving inside. So if electric field lines, they are directed inward, that means this object is acting like a sink. Then this is called negative flux. And it is moving outward, if it is moving outside the object. So this particular object is acting like a source from where electric field lines are emerging out. Okay. So in that case, this will act as a positive flux. That is, suppose I have a positive charge Q inside here. Suppose I have an isolated positive charge here. So we know from an isolated positive charge, the electric field lines, they emerged outward, they are outward directed. And if I have a negative charge here, then in that case what will happen? The electric field lines will get inside the substance. Okay, so it is producing negative flux and this one is producing positive flux. Now we will see the cases if electric field is uniform and if the electric field is non-uniform. here you can see that we are keeping a plane surface, 2D surface, open surface. We will deal with the 3D cases also. So here the electric field lines, they are uniform. That means this particular planar area is kept in a uniform electric field. Now we have to calculate how much electric flux is passing through this particular area. So I can consider small elementary area. I know this will be the direction of area vector, but then also if I am considering the small elementary area, so this will be my direction of the area vector. So I can write that this one is D1 vector, or if I consider this one, this will be my area. I can write down dA2 vector. So in this way I can divide it in small elementary parts, and then I will be integrating. So first I will calculate electric field lines passing through the small elementary area, and then I will integrate, then I will get it for the whole surface, how much flux is passing through this particular plane. So here the angle between E and A vector, they are 0 degree, right? So my flux I can write phi E equals to, now electric field is also uniform. So if electric field is uniform, then what should be my expression of flux? So phi E I can write integration of E dA1 cos 0 degree plus E dA2 cos 0 degree plus, in this way I can write up to n elementary areas cos 0 degree, right? So this becomes phi E equals to E, okay, dA, right, for all elementary areas even if I integrate. So this becomes, electric field is uniform, so it's a constant, it will come out. So this is E dA. So this is my expression when I am keeping the particular area on where the electric field is uniform. Okay, so this is my expression, and electric field is uniform, so it will come out of the integration. Now in the next case, if electric field is non-uniform, I have this is also a 2D area, and if I consider that through this 2D area I have electric field lines which are passing, but the surface is non-uniform. So in that case, from charge Q you can see that electric field lines, they are diverging in all directions, right? Now it's an uniform, non-uniform substance, so direction of area vector is not going to be same for all portions. So for this particular portion, right, for this particular portion if I consider, so this particular portion, let us name this particular portion as dA1. So this will be my direction, right? I can write this is dA1 vector, okay, having an angle θ1, because different angles will be formed. Now for this one, dA2 vector having the angle θ2. Similarly for this one, if I consider this one, if I consider, let me consider that this is dA3 vector having an angle θ3. In this way I will consider elementary areas and I will integrate. Okay, for this one, let us consider this as my elementary area. So for this one I will have dA4 θ4. So my net flux through this non-uniform substance will be the summation of flux through this one, through this one, through this one, through all through elementary areas. Flux is scalar quantity, so I can write phi1 plus phi2 plus dot 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 up to this way I can write for up to n elementary areas, right? So I can write that this is my E1 dA1 cos θ1 plus E dA2 cos θ2. And here the electric field is also not uniform. See, the directions of the electric field, they are different. Okay, the direction of the electric field, it's a non-uniform electric field. Okay, it's a non-uniform E, right? So what am I getting? In this way I can write for up to n elementary areas. So I can ultimately, if I integrate, I will get the net electric flux passing through it to be E vector dA. Okay, my electric field is not uniform, so this will be this what I am going to get. Okay, my electric field will be inside the integration, whereas this case my electric field will come out of the integration because it's a constant quantity, and if I integrate dA fully I will get EA. So phi equals to EA, right? But in this case I need to integrate the area. Okay, I need to integrate the electric field, and then only I will be getting the net flux. Now instead of a 2D surface, if this one is a closed surface, okay, suppose the surface is a closed one, so in that case same thing is applicable. What do we need to do? We need to put a sign in this way. This represent closed area. So in closed area we can write E vector dot dA vector. That means if it's a 3D surface, writing this and putting a circle over here will represent that this flux is for a closed surface, for an enclosed surface. Okay. The next part of this one, the details description, we will continue in the next video.